let's talk about the hallucinations I see. Many of you enjoyed the Let's Talk voices that I hear, and I want to do more about my schizophrenic episodes and what happens during them. So today we'll be talking about my hallucinations. Sorry if my eyes seem watery, I'm going to apologize now for it. I just did a makeup review before this and I had a bad reaction to the makeup. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I wrote down a list of things I wanted to talk about so I would not forget. It's not like a script, it's just to remind me about keeping on track on this episode, because usually I start blabbing and I lose track of where I'm going. So let's get started. Hallucinations for each person is different, how they handle them, what they see, how they respond to them. I am not your typical schizophrenic where you hear about on media, at least, that they see like little people running around or little green men or something like that. I see different than normal. I recognize, not at first, that they're not real. At first I will think they're real, and then for a split second reality hits in almost immediately for me and I will recognize it's not real. So let's get to talking about these hallucinations. When I first started seeing hallucinations, they were not very distinct. They were like kind of like shadows on the wall or shadows in the corner of my eye. At first it was just like glimpses, like I thought I saw something over there or something like that, and they weren't distinct shapes at first. But then I started seeing things like lizards or bugs crawling on the walls, but they weren't colorful. They were mainly shades of gray and black, things that I could be mistaken as something else, but I'm pretty sure it was this kind of thing. And they'd just be scrolling in the front, I'll look like instantly back and they'd be gone. And it's not like it would fall off. It would happen often, like behind me, like if I'm looking in a mirror, I would see it behind me, or the corner of my eye, or even yesterday, I was seeing bugs crawling on the walls, but this time they were in front of me and it was for a split second. And it'd be gone. Like it vanished. Kind of like a mirage, I guess. If you ever played Assassin's Creed Origins, you would kind of understand what a mirage is like. How it just kind of fades in front of you, like sand flowing through the wind. That's kind of how it is for me. From there, they started turning into shadows crawling out of shadows. How do I explain this? Have you ever seen those horror movies where a monster comes out of like the darkness, crawling out of the darkness, like The Grudge or I don't know, Freddy Krueger? How they just start crawling out of the shadows. Well, shadows upon shadows, as best I can describe, is a shadow coming out of a shadow. And what I'm saying is, it usually would just be like an arm or two that I would see coming out of the shadow, and would usually happening outside. Now, before I continue on with this, I used to rollerblade every single night outside in front of my house. It was how I kept my cardio up and everything like that, how I kept in shape, and it's better for people with mental disorders to always exercise because it helps keep them active, and other reasonings I don't remember scientifically, but I know that one of the things is that you should do is keep exercising, keep healthy, which is something else I will be bringing up in a future video. So while being outside at nighttime with a street lamp right in front of our house, luckily, there'd be a lot of shadows casted around though, and from those shadows I would see creatures crawling out of it. Now like I said, it was mostly just hands. I never saw a head or anything. It was just like a hand crawling out, and it'd be like a demonic hand, like clawed up, long fingers pulling itself out, and then I'll look back and it's gone. Completely gone. Don't know where it went. And most of the time these didn't scare me. It was just like a split second, you would stop, you feel a heart bump, and it was gone. And then they never scared me to go back inside. Like normal people would probably be like, okay, that's scary, I'm going inside now. I kind of just continued because I realized I have schizophrenia. I'm gonna be seeing things, they're not real. And sometimes it does scare me to go back inside. One of my biggest fears because of my schizophrenia is sudden darkness. I wasn't afraid of sudden darkness, but now it's a phobia, to the point where what actually happened one time was all the street lights went out during nighttime. So it's all the house lights went out, all the street lights went out, and it was pitch black outside. The moon wasn't out or anything. There was sudden darkness. That scares me. I had a panic attack. I raced inside. I basically fell inside, because when you have rollerblading, rollerblades on, you don't exactly, when you're panicking, you don't exactly go, you tumble. Well, that happened to me a couple times. Now I'm going to tell you about some of them that I distinctly remember. I'm pretty sure there was lots more. I just forgot them throughout the years. It's not something I casually like, oh, I'm going to remember that now. This is something I kind of pushed aside now because I've had it for years. But these ones I distinctly remember. I know them. They're stuck in my mind for all eternity. One of them, what I call, is the little girl. Now, I was rollerblading, as I had mentioned. A lot of these happened when I was rollerblading or when I was in my bedroom by myself. The little girl, trying to find the best way to describe her. She was in our driveway. You could fit 4 cars, 2 in front, 2 in the back. We had 3 cars, 2 in front, and 1 in the back. And there was a little girl, like, huddled next to the car, like huddling, like, I guess she was afraid or trying to hide, but she was gray and white and a little bit of black. And when I noticed, her eyes were grayed out, and she was only there for a split second. She was mostly whitish gray from what I recall, kind of like a ghost. But I know she wasn't a ghost because although I believe my house was haunted back then, I don't think it was by a little girl. And she was gone after a split second. And another thing that happened in the driveway similar to that was a person, when I was driving home one day during the daytime, someone white like that was also standing in my driveway, but it was standing in my driveway, and it flashed away, like in a split second. But that's all I really remember of her. She didn't really appear any other times. I never heard laughter in my house. I know it wasn't a haunting of the house. I know it. So don't you come at me, you spiritualists. I promise you it was not a little girl haunting my house. I know that a lot of religious nuts usually come to me. I'm gonna say religious nuts. You can believe whatever you want, but you guys are kind of pushing it on me how instead of being schizophrenic, I'm possessed. This is not going to help. This next hallucination is not going to help that. But I promise you, I'm not possessed, people. And the next hallucination was probably the last biggest hallucination I've had. When I say biggest, I mean it was literally huge. I had a 1-story house. I was out rollerblading again. And I come around the turn, because I just go in a big, like, circle. And I come around the turn and I notice this huge demonic shape in front of my house. It was all black. If you guys ever played Kingdom Hearts, Sora's shadow monster in the beginning of the game, number 1, how he has all the hair. He looks like him, but he was all black, no eyes, and he didn't have the hair, he had horns. Like, Taurus horns, like bull horns. And he was gone in a second. He was taller than my house. He was at least a head taller than my house. He didn't do anything. He just stood there in front of the garage for a split second, then went out of nowhere. And he was all black. I noticed that with most of my, I don't want to say all of it because recent hallucinations have been more detailed, but most of mine have been black, gray, or white. Other instances with more detailed and colorful figures of hallucinations I've seen is cars while I'm driving. Reasons why I should not be driving, actually. Sometimes I will see cars while I'm on a deserted road driving home back in Florida. Like when we went to Walmart, there was a street you can take in the back. I'm saying deserted roads, so there's no other cars there. There's no other cars where to come out from. I would see cars coming at me, like about to hit me in the front or like the side of the car, and I'll glance, but I won't respond. I'll like grip my wheel fast, but I won't respond because it's like a split second, and half my brain's realizing it's a deserted road, and the other half is like kind of thing, and I'll freak out for a second, but I won't move, and I notice like the car isn't there. And that's happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times in the past, where cars will suddenly appear and they won't be there. So that's happened to me a couple of times, and they weren't gray or white that time. They were like actual colors, shapes, and different things. I don't remember seeing drivers. It's just like those split seconds. You don't think of that. You don't remember seeing them. So I've had that happen. Those are more detailed ones. Luckily for me, it wasn't like I was going to run into anything. I didn't respond that way. It's my body realized, or my brain realized, hey, we're not on a road full of cars, don't respond. It's just mental, stay. It's like my brain's trying to fight the schizophrenia at the same time, but it's losing drastically. One of the most recent hallucinations I've had, other than the bugs on the walls, is I was driving home from Marietta, which has the used bookstore I go to, and you had that side mirror outside, and you know, the one on the other side, but I was looking at the left one. I was glancing to see if anyone was next to me, and I glanced at my left one, and I noticed a big eye. Just one big eye. Like, my eye, but like, this big. In the mirror, in the side view mirror, and it was bluish green, not my eye color. And it was just staring at me, and then it disappeared. And that was the first time I've ever seen something like that distinct in color for a split second. Literally maybe more than a split second, for maybe for a whole 1 or 2 seconds. And I was like, holy crap, that's there. And I kind of just ignored it, went away. So yeah, that is the most recent one that I recall I saw. while driving, and I was like, holy crap, yeah, these are getting worse. Because at first I didn't really think of it like, now I'm gonna go to frequently asked questions. I only got like 2 of them. I have like a list in the back, and then I'm gonna get to something called the anti-hallucinations, because I don't know what else to call them. So the first question I got is, when do they occur? For any schizophrenic, anytime, any place, anywhere, any moment. I don't really know how to describe that. A lot of people have asked that actually. I notice mine occur mostly at night when my mind has a better chance of playing tricks on me. But I do notice they do happen during the day too. I mean, the car ones I mostly had during the day. The person standing in my driveway once was during the day. When I was driving home and I saw that eye was during the day. The bugs crawling on the wall is during the day. So mine really happen any time of the day. All schizophrenics have it any time of the day. Maybe some might have it more than usual in certain times of the day. Mine, like I said, is usually at night. Another question I have been asked maybe once or twice is, do I fear them? When they first occur, yeah. If you see a big demonic creature standing in front of your house, you're gonna respond for a second. You're gonna be like, oh. I do get that adrenaline rush, like I start having that heart pumping, racing feeling, and I have to stop for a second to cool down because I have a heart murmur. So if I don't stop, I can cause my heart murmur to act up, and then I can cause my asthma to act up and all that jazz. I do respond with fear at first, but afterwards I kind of like whatever. I'm not scared of them now. I mean, they're not here now. They kind of appear at any time now, but I think when I do fear them the most is when I am watching something I'm enjoying, which is usually horror or paranormal related stuff. I do fear the possibility of having a hallucination. Because it's scary not seeing something that's there. It's scary not knowing whether or not it's going to be real or not. Like, I go down the hall almost every night to my bathroom, and down to the hall, and right next to my bathroom is the living room, and when it's dark, the shadows turn into things for me. They turn into hallucinations. They turn into shadow people. What I describe as shadow people, not really shadow people. And it does scare me. And when I come back out of the bathroom, I'm basically running back into my bedroom because the last thing I want to be doing is seeing something I can't see or control. That is the scary thing, is you can't control it. You don't know when it's going to happen, and you don't know how you're going to respond to it. For all you know, that person you're sitting there in the corner, you think is a hallucination, one day might not be a hallucination. It might be a real person, and you keep telling yourself, that's not real, that's just my schizophrenia. But it's coming at you with a knife. So that's the scary part, is when the hallucinations get so bad you actually start believing it's real, or if it's not real, and it could be real. Now I'm going to talk about the anti-hallucinations. I would have added this to its own personal video, but I don't know what to call them, so I'm going to call them anti-hallucinations. What I mean by anti-hallucinations, I'm not seeing it in front of me like you and me if we were sitting next to each other talking to each other. It's images that pop up in my brain but like play like a movie in front of my eyes. But not like here, like I'm watching like here, it's in my eyes watching like a movie, like you're daydreaming, I guess is the best way to say it. Daydreaming or dreaming or nightmares, etc. but during the day. And it's not a daydream, it's a flash for a second. And these hallucinations, which I call the anti-hallucinations, are the worst hallucinations for me. Why? Is because they don't show fake people. They don't show demons. I get scenes of my family members, my pets, destroyed. And I mean destroyed, I mean dismembered. I see images of walking into my house and they're all on the floor, cut open, dismembered. I mean gory stuff. Like, it's real. And for that moment when you see that image in your brain, all of a sudden you think you're there. You think it's real, and it's scary. I get these anti-hallucinations at least 5 times a day. And it's not like they're telling me to go do it. I do not feel impulsive at all to do it. I feel repulsed. Repulsed? I feel disgusted and scared, like it's gonna happen. I get scared more of those because it's inside your brain. You literally think it's happening. And it's so scary that I often do this when it happens. It's often when I'm driving. It's often when I'm laid in bed about to go to sleep. It's often when I'm holding the animal. Say, the other night, we have to give Anubis a bath every night because he has ringworm. I had him wrapped up in my arms, drying him off in the towel, and then I saw the image, the anti-hallucination in my head. wrap him up in a towel and start beating him on the ground, and I freaked out. I had to put him down carefully, and I had to stop, and I had to breathe, and I had to really calm down. And it was scary because every time I blinked, I saw it, and I was terrified. I was trying not to cry because I'm not impulsed to do it. That's not the case. It's not trying to make me become a serial killer. It's trying to torment me. That's what it's trying to do. And I'm terrified of it. I was so terrified of it. Like, there was one time where Zach used to try to scare me. He's learned not to now. Not because of the things I've seen. And I was in Florida. I was coming around from the bathroom, and you come from the bathroom, and there's like a corner right there, a sharp corner you can take to the kitchen. Well, he was hiding behind that corner. And for some reason I had a fork in my hand. I think I was going to go take it to the kitchen, but I wanted to run to the bathroom real quick. I think to wash my hands or something. I don't remember. And I went to turn around, and he spooked me, like, ah, kind of thing. And I saw an image of me stabbing him in the forehead with a fork. I didn't have the impulse to do it. When it happened, I dropped the fork, and I just stood there shocked. And it's not even things like where I'm holding the item all the time. Like, we have a time period, like an hour every night before we go to bed, where we take care of each other. When I take care of each other, it's like I'll wash my face, I'll clean his back because he has bad issues on his back, acne. So I'll wash it. He has dermatitis, so I put stuff in his hair to help keep that calm and everything. So we take care of each other health-wise before bed. He'll like brush my hair and stuff like that before bed, or put in a braid for me because he's great like that. And I remember going through his hair one night. We were watching TV, and I got the image of me shooting him in the head and him falling down dead. And I don't have a gun. I will not be near guns. I refuse to get near guns because of these images, because I do see myself hurting people. But it's not just me hurting people. It's other times where I'm laying in bed about to go to sleep, and all of a sudden I'll see an image and I'll even hear sounds like it's inside my own house. And so breaking in and shooting me in the head while I'm laying in bed. And that's why a lot of times I'll sleep with pillows over my head, because of those images. I get those a lot. I've been getting those since I was a wee little ass. So I call those the anti-hallucinations. And they are far scarier to me than the actual hallucinations. They are far, far more scarier to me. I can't even try imagining the people you love, the things you love most. I mean, really, really imagine it. Them just destroyed in front of you, dismembered, ripped apart, your PS4 torn or ripped apart, all your games lost forever, whatever you held closest to your heart just destroyed in front of you. And then you're brought back to reality, you don't see it, but you're not home to make sure they're okay. That is the scariest hallucinations I could ever live with. And again, I don't even know what to call those. I wouldn't say they're delusions. That's a whole other video I'm going to be making. But they are scary. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. I'm not impulsed to do any of these things. A lot of people will probably say, oh, that's just your mind trying to make you become psychotic and go kill things. And maybe it is. Maybe it is my schizophrenia trying to make me go kill my family. I mean, that's what the media has made mental disorders become. People like us become serial killers or deranged or chaotic. That's not the case. We're misunderstood. I don't want to hurt anyone. These hallucinations doesn't make me want to hurt people. It scares the living daylight out of it. I think my schizophrenia is in the back of my head laughing. That's the Let's Talk about my hallucinations and my anti-hallucinations. I hope you guys enjoyed. Anyone who's suffering through this, you can talk to me. I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor, but I have no problem with talking to anyone who's going through these things and telling them how I handle it, which I'm going to do a video on in the future. I'm going to be doing a couple videos on my delusions because I have quite a bit of them, and it's going to be a very long video for that. So if you like this, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. Just know that this is mostly a makeup channel, so although I'm putting these mental disorders up, just know that you're going to be mostly getting makeup. I'm going to try doing more these disorder ones more because it seems like you guys really enjoy them, and then I'm touching some of you guys' hearts and you guys are understanding, which is great. More people need to understand about these disorders. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.